All right, Pro Schmo, update. Volker Walker out. Now, I'm not here to talk about Walter Walker being out and we're going to find a new leg to replace him with or whatnot. No, but, we're talking about the money. This is important. It appears that Vegas could not afford Walter Walker to stay on the card, okay? You could buy whatever you want as far as Muhammad Usman being injured or whatever the case is. You could go ahead and buy yourself that story. I'm not, all right? There's absolutely no way I'm buying that story. Now, when he fell off the card, because Vegas made a phone call and said, hey, we got too much liability. Joel Alvarez, Montel Jackson, and Walter Walker are the most bet on this fight card. And, Charles Oliveira losing his fight is not enough. All right? We need you to take him off, and we got to sort this out, move some lines, reverse some lines, push some lines, get some media coverage on fighters like Ricardo Ramos or Vitor Petrino, perhaps, so that we can bust people's parlays this weekend. It's that simple, fellas. All right. Now, before I get into that, all right, and how much money who has and where the public is now betting, right? Who they're chasing, what lines they're chasing, because clearly, right, if you can't bet Walter Walker, you're going to run to Petrino, or you're going to run to Joel Alvarez, or you're going to run to Ricardo Ramos. Some of these spots, inevitable to cash. For example, Vitor Petrino, could he potentially lose a decision? Absolutely not, okay? Can Joel Alvarez lose the fight against his opponent in Vicente Luque? Absolutely not, right? Can we have someone like Ricardo Ramos lose his fight? 100% yes. 100% yes. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. Right now, I'm going to break down the rankings and cardio for this fight card, all right, to help assist you guys, all right? The community knows we come clutch with this. Beatriz Mesquita, best cardio on the card, followed by Lucas Rocha, StewartNicoll, Matuas Gamrot, Charles Oliveira, Davison Figueiredo, Montel Jackson, Con Ofley, Jafel Filo, Clay Carpenter, Lucas Almeida, Vicente Luque, Joel Alvarez, Saman Oliveira, Michael Aswell, Julia Polastri, Mario Pinto, Ricardo Ramos, Thomas Peterson, Walter Walker, Jonathan Denise, Carolina Kowalkiewicz, Luan Lacerda, Muhammad Usman, Irina Aleskeva, and Vitor Petrino as last, okay? Last, all right? So from the bottom up, the worst cardio on this fight card is Vitor Petrino, followed by Irina, Muhammad, Luan, Carolina, Joanna, Walter Walker, Thomas Peterson, Ricardo Ramos, Mario Pinto, Julia Polastri. You got it? Very good. Michael Aswell, all right? And then we also have in competition grappling strength and offensive rankings. All you got to do is visit us at ProSchmoBets.com or send us a DM on Instagram, all right? So we're going through this fight card, all right? And we'll go through the prelims. This is what I suspect is going on. This first card, we might see a huge bust on Luan Lacerda. Huge bust, okay? He might lose this fight, man. Simon Oliveira's got great cardio. He's got timing. He's got a good shot selection. The guy is not just getting stomped out by Luan Lacerda, but the public believes he will. Now, if there is an upset on the prelims, that's it. Julia Polastri holds too much of an advantage. Too much. Not just in the skill set. She's one of the best strikers on this fight card, okay? She's one of the best in her weight class at strawweight, and she's up against a 40-year-old and Carolina Kowalkiewicz. I'm not saying it's easy, but parlay that. Julia Polastri. Look at this. Walter Walker, had he not fallen out, we're taking another Brazilian. Lucas Rocha. StewartNicoll is a grappler. You have to be well-rounded in this game, okay? Lucas Rocha has a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I understand he got submitted by Clay Carpenter. That's Clay Carpenter taking your back, all right? And he was chopping down at his legs, all right? Lucas came around. StewartNicoll not doing the same. StewartNicoll crossing how many time zones to get into Brazil? StewartNicoll was not on the Perth card. It's for a reason, okay? Irina and Lucas Rocha's got great hands, man. Irina Alekskiva, no round 3 cardio. Beatriz Mesquita is huge. She's going to muscle this girl. Another Brazilian. Man, parlay it. Parlay the whole Brazil on the prelims. I'm telling you. Except the first fight. Because I'm telling you, I think that underdog is going to cash. Simon Oliveira. Whatever. Parlay him. Look at this. Jafel Filo, Clayton Carpenter. Clayton Carpenter can expose Jafel Filo when it comes to, oblique kicks, calf kicks, and things that Clayton Carpenter can expose, okay? However, Jafel Filo's got the boxing, man. He can dip and move. He's inside. He can grapple. He can get that top control, but where he concentrates his grappling. And Clayton Carpenter might have, a very difficult time here, getting a decision from judges that are appointed by the UFC in Brazil. I mean, come on, right? So it's Jafel Filo or nothing here. So I'm parlaying all of it. Jafel Filo, Vitor Petrino, Beatriz Mesquita, Lucas Roy. I'm parlaying it all. We're going to the main card. All right, and here's probably where we're going to bust. The UFC, Dana Shelby, I don't know who it is, man. What matchmaker is behind Michael Aswell, but they don't leave this boxer alone. And boxers are important. Adrian Yanez, Rob Font. Boxers are important, man. That's just the way UFC goes. So I like Lucas Almeida. I know you could take him by decision at plus 400, but absolutely not, especially with how much money is being bet on. The next one, Ricardo Ramos. Absolutely not, man. I think Con Ofli, with 90% of all the bets and people now chasing Ricardo Ramos. Yes, I understand. He's got offensive striking, and he looks good doing it. The reason why is because he's looking to knock your head off in the first round because he does not have round 3 cardio. And his defensive grappling is terrible. So he has to make up for those minutes that he can see himself lose on, or the points that he can lose to opponents with, right? And so those points are made up by him attempting to just finish you in the first. All right, that his record I'm not fond of, 17-7. His activity I'm not fond of. With 90% of the bets, I'm taking Con Ofli, a grappler, despite him getting finished. I understand. Okay. It is what it is, right? So I'm taking Con Ofli. We're going to make it boring, and let's get the win. That's it. Jonathan Denise, Mario Pinto. Again, man, this is a young guy, Mario Pinto, that you can matchmake with Thomas Peterson at heavyweight. You can matchmake him with the Salsa Boy. You can matchmake him with Mick Parkins. You can matchmake him with, heavyweight Muhammad Usman or Walter Walker. Whereas Denise, he's already run his course, man. There's not really much you can matchmake through. So I like Mario Pinto here. And again, we're upsetting a hometown favorite with Joel Alvarez, Vicente Luque. Vicente's been grappling since RDA. Yeah, the brain bleed is very real. As you can see, Ariane Lipsky went to PFL for a reason. We're taking Joel Alvarez on the money line at welterweight. Figgy, man, I understand he's wearing a knee brace, but it's to the opposite knee of where he heard a pop. He was involved in a pop and pain after a ground scramble with Corey Sandhagen. It was a 50-50 leg lock position, and Corey exploited that, right? Had him tap out. No problem, right? So although a tear of the anterolateral ligament was suspected and potentially surgery, the coach made it clear to everyone that he was okay and all he needed to do was rehab it. 4 months later, we're here. All right, Davison Figueiredo should win this fight. However, even if you took him on the money line and he did win that decision in your eyes, all 5 rounds, because we understand Montel Jackson does not have 5-round cardio. We know that. Right, and although he's got, good hands, he's Montel Jackson, man. Montel Jackson. He gets finished, he gets out grappled. He is sometimes, in top control. He's scrambling to find it because he's very afraid of being on his back. This is not good for a guy like the God of War, Davison Figueiredo. So with all that said and mentioned, I want you to understand that the 3.5. The point spread is what you have to bet on Davison Figueiredo, because he will go the full distance. And I guarantee you, Montel Jackson is not the bust on the card, because you can matchmake Montel Jackson now that he takes a ranking. You can matchmake him with Song Yodong, with Marlon Chito Vera. You can matchmake him with, the mid-tier at bantamweights, and that's really good. And he's not that old. He's very popular. This is the guy that has the hands the size of Francis Ngannou. It's crazy, all right? So even if you see Deiveson Figueiredo win, it's going to be Montel Jackson, who gets that decision. That's just the way it goes, folks. All right, Figueiredo's older. He's 40 years older. UFC pays him too much when he, gets into these fight cards. They'd rather not, shell up 800,000, 500,000 every time this guy's showing up and fighting. Imagine he wins. They got to pay him his win money. And then you got Charles Oliveira. We've already ran through this a million ways. Charles Oliveira got the belt stripped from him on a loss to Makhachev on a quick turnaround that people thought was unfair because Dana paid him off, gave him money. How do you go from the favelas and a third world country not getting paid as much as Conor McGregor and you buy a house in Miami? You understand what I'm saying? You don't just buy a house in Miami, okay? That's the trap. You know how much it costs just on property taxes alone? So not even Aljamain Sterling lives there. You know what Merab Dvalishvili drives? He drives a Hyundai. A Hyundai. He had to get gifted the G-Wagon, all right? So Charles Oliveira had his whole team, bro. They flew out. I'm not going to hold you. They flew out like 20, 25 people on his team to face off with Islam Makhachev. Of course, he was taking that L. He got a nice check. Dana had to convince this man that he's never getting past a wrestler. Arman Tsarukyan, Islam Makhachev, Mateusz Gamrot. All right, so Gamrot is going to take it here. Charles Oliveira, he's going to get enough bets, but not enough to pop the parlays. All right, so who do I suspect is going to pop the parlays? Ricardo Ramos, most certainly. Lucas Almeida, most certainly. Okay, and then we have potentially Luan Lacerda, man. All right, that's how I see it going. In another world, I get it. It'll probably be Montel Jackson because he holds all of it, and then Vitor Petrino to a terrible decision. Terrible, because it's such a lame fight. Everybody's winded, gassed against Vitor Petrino. Right, because Thomas Peterson, he resorts to offensive grappling, so it should move Vitor in conviction to knock out Peterson in the first round. And so I don't agree with the latter concept of how the parlays will bust. I prefer the former, in seeing the main card, Brazilians just go out. All right, you heard it here first. Pro Schmo Bets.